Welcome to The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeremy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeremy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
Join us as we explore the prize inside, looking at holistic health and extraordinary human potential.
Hi there.
Hi there.
The Prize Inside, a podcast dedicated to holistic living and unlocking your human potential.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the 1% Tribe, Sunday night, 8:30. And I think the entire nation's pretty cold. So there's not going to be a lot of gardening talk. But I like to tell people, like, remember, when it gets this cold out, just remember just a few short weeks and the sun will shine. You can start working on those outdoor projects. Rachel was impressing me hugely. Our house, we've always had, with two kids, you start piling up stuff in the basement. And we have this large basement that is not one that you like redo, right? But it's more of like, people in Michigan would know. It's like more of a Michigan basement, but redone where it's really nice. Well, it's huge. So we were like, man, wouldn't that be a great garden center, to start stuff, this spring. So because we don't start a ton, you're talking only gardening for like us, right? And so it doesn't take a lot of space. So we may not necessarily have to grow this big, huge area, but we're kind of negotiating that as we go. Cause as the kids go, trying to figure out what to keep, all the cool stuff, the amount of junk. I'm kind of a hoarder when it comes to things. If you haven't noticed, I'm a little ADD brain. My hobby is inventing things. So with that comes a lot of bad invention ideas that are like hacked together and prototypes and stuff. So we have, we're able to clean a lot of that stuff out. So we're getting there. I think this is the year of that, where we do a lot of that. So donations, those kind of things. So anyway, so tonight is about an interesting herb that a lot of people don't know about. I'm excited to do it because it comes in this category of herbs, choleretics and cholagogues. Very big on mainstream. And the way I got this topic, there's so many herbs. So I just kind of put out a Facebook post. I probably shouldn't have done it that way with the friends I have. The friends I have are ones that they thinking not herbs. They were thinking one special herb in particular. So I thought that was funny. But I did get quite a few people talking, and they wanted to know a little bit more about milk thistle. Milk thistle is an herb that really, really helps with liver. Okay. So we're going to talk a lot about that. It has a lot more activities than just, just the actual, liver detox thing. And we're going to talk about that. So that is what tonight is about. I'm excited about this because milk thistle, if you don't know, the processed foods, the ultra foods, the drink and the sugars, all those things are causing us to have major problems with our liver. Okay. So we're having fatty liver disease at a younger age each year. Our kids are getting diagnosed much quicker with fatty liver, which fatty liver used to be an alcoholic thing. Now they're finding that it's like stress on the liver, essentially. And so that is coming with a lot of processed foods and those kind of things. So it's really important to understand how to protect your liver. Okay. And I call it, and unfortunately, a lot of times the liver goes unchecked especially with those, that have, let's say, a drinking problem. So let's say they have this drinking problem. They feel relatively healthy all the time. But it is definitely a silent killer. And that's what is so tough is a lot of times, you don't know your liver's bad until you know your liver's bad. And then it might be too late. But here's the cool thing about the liver, and we're going to talk about that. It is one of the most dynamic blood rich organs in the human body. And Rachel and I went, and have you ever heard, hopefully you've got, it was like the human body project, and they'd bring it to different museums where they actually dissected a human in various, and like it took every piece and put it on display. And one of the most fascinating things on this whole display was the liver. They opened the liver up, and to see what they call capillaries. So the capillaries that were in the liver were astounding, like thousands of these things in this little liver. And so with having capillary body protection like that, it's probably a good idea to make sure that what we're doing is, correct to that liver. Remember too, in chiropractic philosophy, there's three things that cause dis-ease or disease. It's thoughts, toxins, and trauma, right? So thoughts, toxins, and trauma lead you to dis-ease, or not in ease state, where your body is not being able to have that ability to heal. And so because the liver is like the detox organ of the body, this should be one of our main focuses in holistic living. And so that's why tonight will be a really good one. And as always, when we do herbal talks, I got a couple actual recipes as well. So if you've never been with us before, I want you to really think about this. Subscribe to our email list. It's our newsletter now, but if you put in tribe1.substack.com, you'll be able to get a newsletter of this talk, so that if you miss something, or a couple other newsletters that we're doing throughout the week. So that's pretty cool. And it's so tribe1.substack.com. The other one to go to is Rumble. So Rumble, if you look up the prize inside on Rumble. Oh, where's my chat? Okay, here we go. The prize inside on Rumble. That is a good place to subscribe, so you can get more and more. All the videos are there for free. It's just something I love. I love doing this stuff. And then if you like YouTube, you look up the prize inside a chiropractor's journey, or at the prize inside you. And you can get on the YouTube channel as well. All the videos are going to be there in order. And so then you can watch them, as you go. So subscribe. It's always free, those kind of things. So with that said, without further ado, let's talk about some milk thistle. One of my buddies living in Denver, if he knows what I'm talking about, was making fun of me because he didn't even think that was a real herb. So let me get these little things out of the way first. Okay. Hide that one. Okay. Perfect. So why milk thistle is the number one supplement for detoxifying your liver this year. So in 2026. Okay. So what we're going to go over tonight is, what is milk thistle, how to use it, how does the liver work? So we need to go over that a little bit. How does it fit into our 1% lifestyle? And by the way, I got a little milk thistle tea just to let you guys all know this stuff pretty good. It's a little, I did a combination of milk thistle and echinacea tonight. So once you go through this, you'll be able to understand the best times and when to use milk thistle as well. Okay. So let's go through. The first thing we're going to do is go through an overview of what the liver does. Okay. So a lot of times we hear liver, we hear it. The only thing we link it to is like if you drink too much, right? So we're going to get to that point of, we're going to understand a little bit more of what the liver does. It's a fascinating organ, and we could do a whole topic just on that. But the liver is the largest internal organ in the human body. weighing about 3 pounds in adults, and located in the right upper abdomen, just under the diaphragm. It's a reddish-brown wedge-shaped organ divided into two main lobes, which we'll talk about, the right and the left, which are further subdivided into thousands of smaller units called lobules. These lobules contain hepatocytes, which are the liver cells that perform most of the liver's work. Blood flows into the liver via two main vessels, one called the hepatic artery, which is the oxygen blood, right? And the portal vein, which is the blood that doesn't have the oxygen, but it's nutrient-rich blood from the intestines. The liver processes this blood before sending it back to the heart via the hepatic veins. So the liver has to process the blood. Okay, so that's one major thing. How the key mechanisms of the liver. The liver operates like a multifunctional factory, processing about 1.5 liters of blood per minute. Blood enters the lobules, where hepatocytes filter and transform and source the substances. Waste products are converted into the bile, a greenish fluid, and excreted via bile ducts into the gallbladder or intestines. The liver regenerates remarkably well, like we talked about. It can regrow to full size, even if it's up to 75% removed, which is crazy. Not too many organs would still be around if you remove 75% of it. It maintains homeostasis by constantly monitoring and adjusting blood composition, using enzymes to break down the molecules and hormones to signal other organs. Okay, so one of the big things about the liver, we may not notice it, we may not feel it, but when you bring up the word homeostasis and pretty much all the key factors other than the nervous system in your body, the liver is crucial to make sure that it has the best health it possibly can. Homeostasis is all about allowing your body's innate intelligence within it to thrive. And if your liver is not on that right path, your body's going to struggle with that. What's crazy, though, is if you think about it, it has such a magnificent regenerative property that when you start to actually think about taking care of your liver, stop and drink it, whatever it is, right? Drugs, sometimes medicines, all those kind of things, you start to get regenerative. The liver can regenerate. It's great. They've done it. They've removed 75% of somebody's liver and it regenerated. Think about the intelligence of that, ladies and gentlemen. That should blow your mind right now. So that would be great. That is crazy. Okay. All right. So this is crazy how much this thing does. Okay. And this is why it's so hard to diagnose a lot of things. Liver's like crucially tough to pick up like what is happening. The liver performs about 500 vital tasks, but they can be grouped into several core categories. Detoxification and filtration, its biggest one. The liver acts as the body's primary filter, removing toxins, drugs, alcohol, harmful substances from the blood. It breaks them down into less harmful forms. We would go through that. There's like a phase 1 and phase 2 detox process for excretion into the urine or bile. Okay. So all your waste products from the crap that we eat, chemicals, drugs that we take, alcohol, all of those things end up at the liver to detox it so it doesn't hurt the rest of the body. That's pretty impressive. It also clears old red blood cells, recycling their iron and converting bilirubin, which is a waste product, into bile to prevent jaundice. Okay. So that's why when you see an alcoholic and their liver is really suffering, sometimes you get the jaundice. Babies have the jaundice aspect because the liver hasn't really kickstarted the whole process of detoxification and filtering because they came from a water world and then now they're in the regular. So that's how I look at that. Metabolism and nutrient processing. Carbohydrates converts excess glucose into glycogen for storage and releases as it's needed to maintain stable blood sugar levels. Proteins are synthesized or like albumin and blood clotting factors for wound healing. So it synthesizes those proteins. Fats. This is a big one. So fats produces bile to emulsify the fat. So the bile is there so that we can break down the fats. And that helps allow our fats to be digested well. And absorption gets going into the intestines. That's why, good fats are really, really good for you. But if you have a crappy liver or a bad gut digestive problem, fats are kind of troubling, right? Because you don't have you need to reset or recalibrate your gut system. It also synthesizes cholesterol and converts fats into usable energy. So this is just an opinion. So remember that, because they haven't really connected those two. If somebody has high cholesterol, so I'm kind of a nerd with this stuff. So if somebody has high cholesterol, do we ever do a liver check? Do we ever do a gut microbiome fix, detox, anything? No. But did you see what one of the processes was? To balance cholesterol, right? And that's what one of the major things the liver does. It helps to do that. So why wouldn't we look to have a gut? Maybe you don't have gut problems, but your cholesterol's off the chain, right? So now you're taking a medication that causes more toxicity to the liver, blah, 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 right? So why don't we start looking at maybe getting our gut microbiome, get a whole digestive reset going, and then you'd be really good, really, really good. Storage. Here's a good one that a lot of people don't know. The liver is really good at storage. It stores vitamins A, D, E, K, and B12. Are those kind of important? D and K2, we've been talking about a long time. D3, K2 allows your calcium to get in your cells, right? B12, of course, for nerves. A, E, they're all important, obviously, right? But it's a huge storage process. It's a good place to go. And if your liver's not working right, that could be a problem. Minerals like iron and copper. Glycogen's like a big energy. It's like an energy ball. I always like calling it that. So you got this glycogen that is storing there for excess energy, and that's in the liver as well. It releases these kind of things as the body needs to prevent deficiencies. So this is like your backup system. Okay. So if you're low on some of these, right, your vitamin D, your K, whatever, your liver is going to help produce it. So you make sure that you're not too low on all those things. One of the best things to do is take a lot of those supplementations so you don't ever have to hit your storages either. That's why a lot of times when you're taking vitamins, a lot of times you don't have to take, like I always say, like in the herbal world, remember, it's all about runs, right? We don't have to stay on something forever. And it's like a one a day kind of thing. Vitamins and minerals, you should have something, just have a really good one, and you'll be good, right? Because you got the rest of the body that can make up for that. Okay. It's got immune system and protective roles. It has certain kinds of macrophages that can engulf bacteria, viruses, and debris from the blood to help fight infections. It regulates inflammation and supports the immune system by producing the proteins for getting rid of infections. And it maintains, and so here's some other ones. It maintains blood volume and pressure by producing hormones that regulate fluid balance. So that's another thing, right? So if, it helps in hormone metabolism, breaking down excess hormones like insulin and estrogen. So that's pretty awesome. So that I wanted to go through that because in my little brain, trying to break this down, the liver has these 500 functions, but the biggest one is this detoxification. Something I learned holistically a long time ago. I can't even remember what book this is, but pretend the liver has two phases. It's like two different car washes. Okay. So the blood vessel goes through the first car wash. Well, the first car wash gets the majority of the stuff off of it. So that would be phase one. So we get the majority of the junk off. That stuff then goes out to the urine and the bile to get rid of it. Okay. The liver does, though, because some of the stuff that we do as humans is some of the stuff that we have is so toxic that it needs two car washes. So it needs phase one and phase two car washes. Phase two car wash is the same thing. It just is more intense and like getting your car detailed, right? So that blood cells going through gets the first car wash, and then the phase two allows it to get more detailed, or like get into the, detailing your car or the blood cell to get it all nice and clean, get all the waste products away from there so that it's a fully functioning system. One of the things we've always noticed is that if the liver gets messed up, then the phase one and phase two aren't working right. So that's one of the things that can happen, leading you to these weird bile situations. I have a sneaking suspicion gallbladder has something to do with a lot of this, because the gallbladder is attached, it releases bile, all those kind of things. But it's a big deal. Like, why are we have like the vast majority of the population have gallbladder issues? And what can we do about that? Milk thistle might be something that we can really go after. Okay, so let's bring this back up on the stage. So let's talk about milk thistle, since no one knew. No one really knew this. They've heard it on TikTok and YouTube and stuff. So, but it's one of those that not a lot of people use it. Even herbalists like myself, like when I got into the registered herbalist stuff, I didn't realize how many things, even as a doctor of chiropractic, I never really got introduced to. And milk thistle is definitely one of those. But now I really, really like it, especially for when we put people through our digestive detox situation or our program there. But brief history of milk thistle. So milk thistle is called Silybum marianum, is a flowering herb native to the Mediterranean region, with a history of its use being back 2,000 years ago. Ancient Greek and Roman physicians, such as this dude in the 1st century AD, documented it as a remedy for snake bites and liver issues. Makes sense. During the Middle Ages, it was commonly used for Europe for melancholia, liver imbalances. You feel, think gallbladder attack in that one. And then as a galactagogue is an herbal term to produce milk in nursing mothers. So a galactagogue is some kind of herb, and there's a few of those that'll actually help mothers produce milk if they're having lack. So that's kind of where it got its name at, is the milk thistle, which is how it earned its name from the legendary. It's actually from its legend involving the Virgin Mary's milk leaving white veins on its leaves. So that's usually how they kind of get these cool stories. So let me read that again. So it's from, milking mothers, right? But it got its name from the Virgin Mary's milk leaving white veins on its leaves. Okay. I didn't read that whole thing. I apologize. It's somewhere in there. That's the brief history. But they've isolated its silymarin, that is actually the major part of the milk thistle that helps the liver, and it has the major liver protective properties. Just to throw this out there, guys, big one. So if when they isolate that stuff, I guarantee you have any kind of liver medicine has silymarin in it. It's just in the chemical form, but I digress. Okay, so just remember that as you go. So here's the biggest thing. In milk thistle, the herbal actions are primary active is silymarin, like we talked about. It's called flavonoligands, which are potent antioxidants, anti-inflammatories, and hepatoprotective effects. It works by stabilizing cell membranes, promoting cell liver regeneration, inhibiting toxins from binding to the liver cells, and reducing oxidative stress. Additionally, it exhibits mild cholagogic. Okay, so cholagogic, remember choleretics and cholagogues are a class of herb that improve and increase your bile production. So like your liver, your bile, your gallbladder. Okay. So when you hear a choleretic or cholagogue, for me, that's what it is. And they have some antifibrotic actions with the milk thistle, helping to prevent scar tissue formation in the liver. Some studies suggest it may also have anti-cancer properties by interfering with cancer cell growth, but more research is needed. The body systems that milk thistle can help, not just the liver. Milk thistle primarily supports the digestive system, particularly the liver, where it aids in detoxification, like we talked about, regeneration, and protection against conditions like fatty liver disease, hepatitis, and cirrhosis. It also hugely benefits the gallbladder by promoting bile flow, which can alleviate indigestion, heartburn, and stomach cramps, which is huge. Okay, so this is one we don't talk about, but milk thistle does a lot of situations. I think as a tea, it would be a fantastic after meal introduction, but we'll get into how to take it in a minute. Emerging evidence points to support for the cardiovascular system because of the cholesterol management we talked about in the beginning of this. If you missed that part, go back to where we said it helps manage cholesterol, which is huge. That's why I always talk about the gut detox program that we have at the office. It may indirectly help the immune system via its antioxidant properties and the skin by reducing inflammation in conditions like acne or psoriasis. This one is super interesting to me because I know in skin conditions, a lot of times we go after gut health, but sometimes, especially in a child, if we can get there, sometimes if, like with the gut microbiomes that or detoxes that I've done, kids will start clearing up. But one of the things that does happen is that their liver shows up in a lot of the different, things where we have to add that as an additional herbal remedy. Okay. So some people with like the serious, acne type situations, sometimes let's look at that gut health and a liver situation as well. So there, okay. Some uses might be with metabolic support, such as for diabetes, but that's not proven yet either. Okay. So now let's talk about how to take this stuff. So this is always the way to go. Remember, when we're talking the herbs, there's teas, tinctures, supplements, lots of different ways. Okay. Those are the three main ones. Tea, tinker, supplements. You can take creams, those kind of things. There's 4 or 5 different approaches to it, but I'll give you the major ones. So milk thistle is available in forms like capsules, tablets, tinctures, teas, or extracts. Typically, the standard is 70 to 80% silymarin. The common dosage, this is what you want to know, is between 200 and 400 milligrams of silymarin per day. Divide that into 2 to 3 doses, and often taken with meals because of the better absorption capability. So this is a nice, if you get in the habit of doing it, milk thistle should be one of those that think, all right, after I eat, if my gut is all real sensitive to eating, then milk thistle might be your go-to, like a go-to tea afterwards or something like that. For tinctures, which is what I kind of do at the office mostly, it's a 1 to 5 strength, 2 to 4 milliliters 3 times a day. Daily is recommended. For teas, you want to do 1 to 2 teaspoons of seeds in hot water for 10 to 15 minutes, up to 3 cups a day. It generally is safe for up to 41 months at 420 milligrams per day. But if you start wanting to get real crazy about it, let's say you do have a liver condition or something, you want to really try stuff like this, then you need to be with somebody while you're taking it. It's very safe, but it's one of those things you don't want to go overkill, right? And so remember in all herbs, all human body, this is not a take this every day for the rest of your life. Okay. The biggest thing is like what I say, go in runs, go in, months, 2-3 months, take it for that long, get off of it for a while. Give your body that time, right? Milk Thistle is one that you can take every day. You can absolutely take it every day. The problem that you're going to see is just like I ran in with the first time we ever talked about this with turmeric. Turmeric, the reason people were having it was ineffective for people was because they weren't taking what they call therapeutic dose. The therapeutic doses means you have to take a lot of it, not just 1 or 2, capsules a day. You have to take a lot. You got to get up to that 200 to 400 milligrams per day, and take it like 3 times a day, breaking that up to get the actual effect you want, from these different herbal treatments. Once people do that, then they start noticing the major difference. And then your body gets used to using it. And then you don't have to take as much, if that makes sense. Okay. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Remember, therapeutic dose on a lot of these things. This is, I would consult a physician, make sure it's all good for you. If you're having some major, liver, gallbladder, that kind of thing, talk to your doc, see if this is something you guys could do together. Okay. So hopefully that was good. That was a little breakdown of what milk thistle is. It's a hepatoprotectant. There's not a ton so when I break down stuff like turmeric, ginger, bromelain, chamomile, these are ones, ashwagandha, these are ones that have multiple herbal actions, where milk thistle is very, very good at hepatoprotective and gut health issues like gallbladder and all those kind of things. But the big thing is understanding that it doesn't have as much herbal action throughout its herb, right? So I like trying to focus you in on the good. Like that's why ashwagandha took off, because it kind of helps each body process. And I don't want you overthinking this, but with milk thistle, a lot of times we already know the standard American liver is probably messed up, right? Just in the processed foods, in the drinking, in the drugs that we've taken, all those things create a toxic environment. And what is your detox mode? It's your liver. Your liver is your car wash. It's actually you have 2 car washes there, phase 1 and phase 2. Okay. No other body part does it as efficiently as your liver. Okay. And so we want to keep that as best we can. So bringing in milk thistle into your herbal world could be a really, really good thing. And it's going to be it is part of my life as well. So I always look at liver health because of that, right? Okay. So here's some other ones though, these are some other herbs in the same ballpark, but not as powerful as milk thistle is. Okay. So these are they have some hepatic protective properties. Man, milk thistle tonight. It's good. It's very delicious. Okay. So turmeric is the first one. It has some hepatoprotective properties. It contains curcumins, which is the yellow, right? It's the active ingredient, which has a strong antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects that help protect the liver from damage, reduces fibrosis, and supports detoxification. So turmeric is very used in the Ayurvedic medicines for liver health. Okay. Dandelion root, probably the number 1 or 2 that you could go to with gallbladder and liver. It's a choleretic cholagogue, right? But it acts as a diuretic and a cholagogue, like I was saying, aiding in liver detoxification and digestion as well. It's traditionally used for liver and gallbladder issues, with studies suggesting it reduces oxidative stress in the liver, which is huge. So dandelion root's one of the reasons I got into registered herbalist situation, and I'm still addicted. And it all started with the little dandelion root. It's crazy that we'll be chasing them. And this is my optimistic perspective. 4 weeks. 4 weeks it'll start where we got to mow lawns. It's going to be crazy. Okay, artichoke. Artichoke is a good herb. It's a nice one. It's rich in silymarin, which stimulates bile production and supports liver regeneration. It's often used for fatty liver and indigestion. So artichoke is fantastic as an herb, with evidence showing it protects against the liver toxins. Ginseng, Panax ginseng. It's an adaptation with the antioxidant property that also improves your liver function, reduce inflammation in conditions like hepatitis. Both American and and Asian varieties are noted to have hepatoprotective effects. So there's American ginseng and Panax ginseng. I'm not sure what the other one's called, but in the different areas, they're just named different. So they have slightly different herbal actions as well, though. So I know that. Green tea. This is a good one. So green tea is high in catechins. So it can produce, it does a lot of good antioxidant protection to the liver cells, and it may help with fatty liver disease. So a lot of times they're finding that people that drink green tea on a regular basis, they get some better liver enzyme levels. So that's pretty awesome. So there is a few different ones. Oh, I got some more. I forgot. Okay, here we go. So here's some more hepatic protective ones. Licorice root. See, all of these herbs are worth you. We should have a talk on each one of these. So I probably will, because there's a lot of ones on here that are really high in value. I always call it like herbal value is like how many things they can actually do or the actions. So a lot of these have a lot of high value herbals. So licorice root is one of those. It contains glycyrrhizin, which has anti-inflammatory and antiviral effects, and it supports the liver health. And it's one of the ones you go to for viral hepatitis, which is huge. But you have to use caution with licorice root because it has some side effects, especially with people with high blood pressure. So this one you got to do with your medical doctor, and all of us coordinated together, which isn't too bad. I got a lot of good MDs out there that know their stuff with that kind of thing. So burdock root it promotes detoxification through diuretic and blood purifying actions, and it helps clear the toxins from the liver. It's commonly used in traditional Chinese and Western herbalism for liver support. So burdock root's another go-to. Milk thistle for me, I really like that because I think there's a bigger problem with the liver than people realize. I think I'm going to be right about this in about 5-10 years, where people are with gut microbiome now. I think we're going to be there with liver in about 5 years once we go, what the heck? So that'll be the trend in the future. That's just me predicting it. But chicory acts like a prebiotic and an antioxidant. It protects the liver from oxidative damage, and it supports bile flow. And a lot of times that's in Ayurvedic medicines. So remember that. Ayurvedic's more of the Indian tradition, like from India area tradition. And then you have the Chinese medicine, right? So, and then you have the Western, which is kind of us, right? Okay. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. As I go through this next part, if you have any questions, let me know. Just pop them into the chat. I'm going to go through, you won't even believe this, but I found actual recipes. Never thought I'd actually, find recipes for milk thistle necessarily, except for milk thistle tea. But we're going to start with that one. So that'll be good. So here's the recipes. Milk thistle tea. So what you want to do is you want to get 1 tablespoon of milk thistle seeds in 3 cups of water. Bring the the water to a boil. Add the milk thistle seeds in a little bag, or like if you look at mine, I got this cool cup. Last time we went for an herbal training, it's got a little area where you can put the herbs, and then you just pour the water in, and then it just lets it, what they call, seep in there. And then this one, the reason it's so good tonight is I remembered that to do it. And so I allowed it to seep for a while. Sometimes you got to let that herb kind of get into the water. Okay. A lot of people don't do that enough. So you want to minimum 20 minutes with the milk thistle in that water is critical, because otherwise you're not getting the actual, therapeutic benefits about that. So this one's not using bags, but it says strain out the seeds and serve it hot. You can put honey, lemon, or flour. That was the easy one. This is the one that I thought was interesting. It's called the Liver Loving Milk Thistle Latte. Okay. So this one is a creamy spice drink that's like a golden milk, which is like your turmeric milk. If you haven't seen that, go back to my show on turmeric, you'll see it. It's like a golden milk, but with the milk thistle for added detox vibes. So here's what you do. 1 teaspoon of milk thistle powder, 1 cup of unsweetened almond or oat milk, or whatever milk you want to do, right? 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric powder, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, and then 1 raw teaspoon of honey or maple syrup to taste. Okay. So then you heat it in the saucepan until it's warm, and then whisk it until you get it all kind of going in the right direction. Oh, I cut off that last part. But you get the idea. So look up Liver Loving Milk Thistle Latte, and you'll have like another golden milk, but for your liver. So this might be another way to do it, especially if you like it a lot. So all of a sudden you have that sweet treat after this, like all of us have that sweet tooth, but maybe doing this latte will help you, get rid of that sweet treat, but also improve your liver function, because it'll be right after, let's say you do it right after a meal. It'd be fantastic. So that's pretty cool. All right. So this one was kind of interesting. Rachel was making fun of me on this one, but I really thought this was a cool idea. It's called Milk Thistle Seasoning Salt. Okay. So it's a savory blend to sprinkle on foods during meals, like, your meat or whatever, but it gives you some subtle herbal remedies at the same time. This is what I think, if we can get it to, in my brain, I keep thinking, oh my God, if we can get herbals to be just in their daily lives, a lot of times we won't have to worry about taking a bunch of stuff. We could just know that it's good for you. So this is the ingredients of this. Milk thistle seeds, like 1 to 2 tablespoons ground, a little dried nettle leaf, a little dulce flakes, celery seed, calendula petals, garlic powder, onion powder, and a mineral-rich sea salt like Himalayan or Celtic. And then you grind all that stuff together, okay, in a coffee grinder into your desired fineness. And then you transfer that into a jar and stir it in the garlic and onion powders. Add the sea salt and mix it really well. And then store it in an airtight container. And then the next time you want to put it on potatoes or veggies, really good in soups, marinades, salad dressings, on steaks, on fish, something on those different meats. But you've just added, remember, we actually done two talks on 2 different ones. Stinging nettle, which was fantastic for sinuses, right? So that was dried nettle leaf. And then you had milk thistle. Milk thistle was just the one we did with the liver. Calendula is a very powerful herb. So is garlic, for all those things, immune system support, all those things. And so all of that is in the stuff you're seasoning your steak with. And if you can do it to taste, could be really good. So Rachel and I are going to try this one. She always gets stuck trying it, but she doesn't mind. She doesn't mind. It's good. Okay. All right. So here is, I think this is the last. Nope. We got 2 more. So here is another one. So another recipe. It's milk thistle detox salsa. So the milk thistle detox salsa is a fresh veggie-packed dip with an herbal twist for liver support. It's 4 tomatoes, finely chop them. Hopefully you all know how to make some salsa. 1 orange bell pepper, finely chopped. 1 yellow bell pepper, chop it up. a little sweet onion, one of those, chop it up. 2 fresh coriander, cilantro chopped. Get some good cilantro or coriander and chop that up. It's delish. That's what makes it all awesome. Half a lemon. Squeeze that in there. Get some sea or Celtic or sea salt. Do a half a teaspoon of that. Half a teaspoon, if you like it, cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper has a lot of good medicinal properties, but Jeremy can't do that based on being a wuss. Black pepper to taste, and then 3 teaspoons of milk thistle powder. And then you chop it all up, mix it all together, and there's a salsa. And then you have a milk thistle salsa with possibly cayenne pepper if you're not a wuss. And black pepper, remember what that does, right? It has curcuminoids that help stimulate your turmeric activation, right? So if you remember that. So anyway, so that's milk thistle detox salsa. And then we're going to go on to the final recipe. I don't know if I'm going to be brave enough to try this one, ladies and gentlemen, but maybe. Okay. So milk thistle mule. It's a non-alcoholic drink. Okay. It's a refreshing ginger-forward mocktail using milk thistle extract. Okay. So this one just serves one. So you do 2 ounces of ginger beer, which apparently is not alcoholic. I've never had that, actually. 2 ounces of sparkling water. Juice half a lime. Throw some ice in there. Do about 1 dropper of tincture. So 1 dropper of milk thistle liquid extract. And then maybe put a lime wedge for garnish. Sorry. Fill a glass with ice. Add the lime juice. Pour in the ginger beer and the sparkling water. Sounds amazing. I might actually do that one. That sounds actually really good. That'd be a good nightcap for like a Friday night. Let's say you didn't eat as great as you wanted to. You know, you had this goal in your head and then you didn't make it for whatever reason. You went out to eat or whatever. Maybe this is the way to like give some love back to that liver. Okay. So I thought that was pretty good. What are we going to do for tonight in our 1% improvement? We're going to try some milk thistle. Go get a supplement. Let me put that little, if you know how to do the QR codes, this one in the corner here is Fullscript. If Fullscript is a great, I don't want to put it. Yeah, okay. That's a little too big, but oh yeah. So that's fine. So here's the QR code for Fullscript. Let me get that off of there. Fullscript's like an online Amazon that's actually hooked to me. So like a lot of times I can use that and see, I can get messages through there. As a doctor, it's really helpful. Trying to get most of my patients, I talk too much. And so a lot of times trying to get my patients to like understand, hey, get on this Fullscript. You really like it. Rachel and I love it because any of these crazy ones, you can go milk thistle. And once you get into the Fullscript, all of those supplements are vetted. So no matter what you're going to get is good and it will have some kind of effect. So you're not like second guessing yourself on that. So that's why I love Fullscript so much. Yeah. And then biggest thing for tonight, though, is making sure that you understand, maybe come talk to me, reach out somehow, right? On, tribe1.substack.com, Myers Chiropractic, all the ways to do it. But let's start talking about the gut detox protocol health. Let's get after that. Like I've been doing it with several patients now. Very smooth transit, very smooth timing. What I like about mine, the gut protocol, is that I stay with you for a long time. The reason is because we got to figure out what organs. If you've been with us on the 1% Tribe for a long time, you understand the gut isn't just the gut. It's not about just the gut microbacteria in your intestines. If it's been wrong for a really long time, is your gallbladder working right? Is your liver working right? Is your pancreas? Is your saliva glands? All of these things are needed to look at when you're looking at gut bacteria. Most people are thinking, hey man, I just take this my probiotic and I'm good to go. Well, sometimes it's not the case, and that's what why we started doing the gut microbiome stuff. Sometimes it is the case. You can absolutely reverse all of it. You know what I mean? But what's cool too is once you get the hang of it, it's pretty cool watching people actually feel good when they eat or know that they're, like that's a big deal. There's a lot of people out there that don't feel good after they eat a meal, which is kind of sad because I love eating, as everyone knows. No, I'm just kidding. Well, with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed tonight. Milk Thistle was fun. Um, Big thing is I want to appreciate on my people that made they went out and got online or like with me on Facebook and helped me pick tonight's herb of the week. So next week we're going to be back. I think it is a condition. It's either a condition or motivation. Yeah, it's definitely a condition. So we'll look it up that. If you have ideas for that or suggestions, get onto that email list, tribe1.substack.com. It's ways I can communicate with you. And be looking out for, if you get on the tribe1.substack.com, I'm doing an email or a newsletter each day. So if you missed a lot of this stuff and you wanted to know a little bit more, the newsletter will follow. So it'll have like the transcript of this, but put into a newsletter form. So I just want you guys to know that as well. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Punch it out. Winter is only here for a moment, and then it starts being glorious. So remember that. And with that said, you guys have a great night. Take it easy. See you Wednesday night for Whole Health Week.